Bullying? Let's rip apart all the pieces of bullying. For this section, bullying prevention and awareness. As we stated earlier, bullying is a purposeful action that is intended to injure, involves physical hitting, pushing, shoving, kicking, or mental components such as verbal humiliation, hurtful, threatening behaviors, gossip, exclusion, and always involves an imbalance of power. So when we're discussing bullying, I want you to focus on the acronym RIP, which means repeated, imbalance of power, and the conduct is purposeful. If you have all three components, they must be present in order to meet the criteria for bullying. Again, the acronym for bullying is RIP, repetitive, imbalance of power, and purposeful. If you have all three components, then you have a bullying incident. When we're discussing bullying incident elements, the first thing you need to focus on is repetitive. If it's carried out repeatedly, that means that the targeting has occurred more than once. Imbalance of power. Let me give you an example. Let's just say we have two students who are honor roll students and performing above grade level, and they're in competition with each other when they're taking tests or getting grades in the classroom. If the teacher calls one student up and says, "Johnny, bring me your paper," and Johnny brings his paper ahead of Tony. Johnny walks past Tony and says, "Aha, I'm smarter than you." Is that an imbalance of power? No, not at all, because you have two students who are performing above grade level. Now let's just say Johnny and Tony are competing against each other. Tony is above grade level and Johnny is performing below grade level. Then you have an imbalance of power. One student or group is perceived to be smarter or popular. There is an imbalance of power. The playing field is not level, and the group unfairly takes advantage of this imbalance of power. The next thing, bullying, purposeful action. If someone walks by a student and the student purposefully sticks his foot out to trip another student, that is a purposeful action, and that is considered one of the criteria for bullying. If it's repetitive, there's an imbalance of power, and if it's purposeful, you have a bullying incident. Safe environment. It is our responsibility to provide a safe place to learn for all students. Clarifying points. Is teasing bullying? If you have two students who are jokingly playing with each other on a consistent basis where neither feels that there is an imbalance of power, then no, it is not teasing. However, if one student feels powerless and then they feel as if the teasing is becoming hurtful in some mean manner, then teasing can be considered bullying because there is an imbalance of power. Next, is bullying the same as conflict? Bullying is not the same as conflict. Conflict involves antagonism among two or more people. Any two people can have a conflict. Bullying is only considered when there is an imbalance of power, if it's repetitive, and it's purposeful. Harassment. You have the definition there for you. Means any threatening, insulting, or dehumanizing gesture, use of technology, computer software. Places a student in reasonable fear or harm of his or her person or damage to her property. has effect of substantially interfering with the student's educational performance, impacting the student's emotional mental well-being, or orderly operation of a school, disrupting the orderly operation of a school and or school district work environment is considered harassment. So what does it mean when you say potential to create an intimidating, hostile, or offensive educational environment look like? If you see the bulleted areas, then you will see that bullying is likely to create an environment of a person or group to feel that way. They feel different, alone, unimportant, unsafe, unable to do well and achieve, unable to see a positive future for self. All of these can contribute to an environment where it's difficult, if not possible, for learning and or teaching to occur. Events such as these are considered cyberbullying or aggressive behaviors occurring to and from school. Hazing. Is hazing considered bullying? Forms of hazing can be considered bullying. School staff, athletic directors, and coaches must include hazing in their discussions dealing with bullying in any written student and parent agreements. Cyberbullying is a growing concern worldwide. Cyberbullying. It will occur in schools, and we all as educators must be vigilant. All students, staff, and parents and stakeholders must be made aware of this. Discussions. Include discussions of cyberbullying in regards to sexting, where age appropriate, and general discussions with students, staff, and parents about bullying prevention and or internet safety. If a student is to bring you some information regarding cyberbullying, as an educator, you must keep all of those documentations and report it to administration. Safety. Change email addresses if harassment continues, or you can contact the school police if threats are violent and sexual in nature. Education. Educate bystanders about how to intervene with cyberbullying on social networking sites, phone calls, emails, and all forms of electronic communication. We as educators have to educate our parents about how to block certain email addresses from instant messaging and chat rooms, and how to report complaints to the internet service provider. When we're reporting bullying in our schools, as stated earlier, the first form, Form 2508, Student Bullying, Harassment, and Teen Dating Violence Report. Anyone on the campus can complete this form. You should have the basic facts of who is involved and what they say has happened. Once this form is routed to the AP will then route this form over to your principal for final signature. The next form, 2509, Student Investigation Summary. This form is completed by the AP or principal. It has the results of the investigation along with the actions taken or put in place as a result of the investigation. Last but not least, Form 2597, Student Investigation Evidence. This form is completed by the AP or the principal, once again, and it consists of all of the evidence that has been collected, witness statements, stay away agreements, trainings completed as a result of the investigation. Measures to ensure safety for all, bullying and Title IX investigation. The first step again is to identify the current incident and how it relates to the individuals involved. Once this is identified, put all safety measures in place that will stop the incident from continuing. Next, refer students to school-based team or child study team. It is required for harassment and sexual harassment, and this is coded and SIS under the School-Based Team tab. Put safety measures in place that will allow the behavior to continue with any, will not allow the behavior to continue with any other students. Possible interventions that may be implemented. Form 2507, Stay Away Agreement. Form 2506, Safety Plan. You may implement a schedule change. You may even refer students to a school counselor or with a mentor on your campus. Or you can refer to an outside agency for additional services. Three points you need to become familiar with. In all situations, you need to look for the acronym RIP. If it's repeated, an imbalance of power, or purposeful, you have a bullying incident. If all three aspects are not in play, you are not dealing with bullying. You are dealing with a disruptive event. Student safety is always the first concern, no matter what label we put on the event. Point 2, interventions that provide a safe place to learn and positively impact student behavior are critical to the school environment. We want our schools to be a safe place to learn for all students. Point 3, actions to all incidents should include support structures and monitoring to ensure that the students are constantly in a safe place. And once again, if you have any questions regarding Title IX and bullying, please do not hesitate to contact Diane Wyatt, manager, or myself, Dr.